Alright, I'm just testing this out, but welcome. Welcome to my first Speedpaint recording that I've done in a while. First time doing voiceover for this, so please bear with me, it might be a little choppy. But here is a dragon I was working on stream the other day, so if you see random things flying across the screen, it's most likely just the emotes and things from chat, so please just ignore those, and also ignore all my twitchy jerking and head bobbing. Apparently I move my head a lot, but yeah, I just thought I would do this to kind of give the whole speed paint thing a try, I suppose. When I was working this up, I was kind of doing it in a different sort of way. I was using Krita for the first time, well, the first real time painting for sure, and so I just sort of blocked in some shapes and just sort of designed around the form, which is kind of a backwards way of working for me sometimes, but it's a good exercise. Highly recommend it if you've never tried it, especially for creature design and stuff. But it's a good way to explore a program too. So you'll see me making a lot of changes and kind of fiddling with settings and just generally experimenting. But typically what I'm doing when I work this way is I'm trying to think of it like a sculpture. So if you've ever done any sculpting before, that might make some sense to you, but essentially I'm blocking in where I think the large anatomy forms or anatomical forms are going to go, and sort of figuring out what makes sense around that. So that's why you see me moving things and erasing bits and sort of drawing things and changing them. But I just thought it might be interesting to take a look at this process. Typically, when I stream, I'm working on projects and things, but I think it's really important to study anatomy before you jump into something like this. You're going to find it to be kind of difficult to, I guess, make up shapes and then try and find the creature in them if you don't actually know what shapes tend to make up a creature. So if you haven't done any studies, I highly recommend doing some of those first. Just go look at some skeletons, go find some online, go get a book, go to a museum. Just bring a sketchbook and draw what you see, and start by, just looking for the big shapes and then starting to connect them. And I especially think it's helpful to do this in person at a museum. You tend to be able to do like walk-arounds and sort of see how all the parts connect. And then once you have a basic idea of what's going on under the skin, then you can start to really do some fun design stuff and play. Now, here I'm starting to add some details. I've sort of blocked in most of the form, obviously, but the details can often be the fun bits, and sometimes it's easy to want to jump into those quickly, which I kind of do here a little bit. You'll see me change some things. But if you have your basic foundation first, it's a lot easier to play. So if you're new to creature design or just design in general, I highly recommend finding the big shapes before you really get down to the nitty-gritty. Otherwise you will find yourself really unhappy with the finished project. You'll zoom out and realize, oh wow, the anatomy is terrible and doesn't match at all. So here I'm just sort of putting in some just fun little effects to kind of give it some motion. You'll see I leave a lot of these erased bits behind. It tends to, I don't know, I find doing techniques like this tends to add a little bit of life to an image, so it's kind of a fun time. But again, I'm just sort of experimenting with new brushes, so I haven't really used Krita very much at this point. And then of course, oh gosh, here we go. Get to watch me figure out how to draw a person. I'm not typically a character designer, but it is something I'm trying to stretch myself in. You can see me sort of laughing at myself a lot during the human process. Another fun thing to do is just to play with color combinations. You might find something you like a little bit better. I didn't end up liking any of the things I saw here, but it can be a really good idea to go into your filter settings and just adjust hue, adjust saturation, adjust all those things, and see if you find something, a color combo that really like strikes you or stands out. So that's what I was doing there. Something I didn't do here that I typically try to do is a canvas flip. So if you are, especially if you're working digitally, it's a really easy way to check for mistakes or just things that sort of stand out. Had I done that here, I probably would have noticed a few things that I'm noticing now that I kind of wish I would have corrected before I finished this. But oh well, this is just a quick practice warm-up. sort of a sketchy exploration fun time, if you will. But working from shape and form can kind of help you think about character design in maybe a different way than you normally would have. So once again, if you haven't really played with that too much, I highly recommend just trying it out. Just pull out a marker and some paper and start making blobs, and then once it dries, get a pen and see if you can find some shapes in there, see if you can find some fun stuff. So you don't have to work digitally to make this happen. But it is easier to change things, obviously, digitally. Now here I'm starting a new layer and just playing with markings. A lot of this gets erased. Didn't end up liking it very much, but some of it remains, and that's just part of the fun of creature design, right? You just play with stuff until you find something that kind of strikes you as it's sort of working. So that's it for my first speed paint. Thanks for watching, and thanks to my patrons.